Natural metal finishes. What are my conclusions about this little experiment? Basically, I wanted to try some different metal finishes and compare them to each other, not just for the color, but for how they go on, how they apply, the characteristics of the paint itself. So I chose three different ones, and we've gone over that. And basically, my conclusion is that natural metal finishes aren't the boogeyman that everybody thinks they are. It's not as hard as it looks. It's actually pretty easy. You just have to be careful and do certain things, like the undercoat is probably the most important part. And that can be done in multiple ways, but I found the best thing was to put a nice high gloss black finish down. And two of the manufacturers, AKI and Alclad, have their own black base, which I used, and it worked great. So the undercoat, the black has to be perfect. The more perfect that undercoat finish, the more perfect your metal finish will come out. So you got to keep that in mind. You want to, as I had to with one of them, I had to wet sand the Alclad base just to get out any imperfections and get it nice and smooth before I put the aluminum on, the polished aluminum. So as you can see, excuse me, there's three different finishes, three different types of paint here. The first one I used was the Revell Chrome, which is a super shiny chrome finish. And that's chrome like chrome on your car, bumpers and trim and things like that. Anything that's super high, shiny finish. That's what this is, and that's right out of a spray can. I put down a base coat of Tamiya Gloss Black, and then I put this Revell Chrome over it, and I'm amazed at how nice this finish is. So if you're doing anything that's super chrome, trim parts, things like that, this stuff's a little bit pricey, but I'll tell you what, it's worth every penny. It works super well, and it's super easy. It's just like spraying on a spray can. Love it. So that's Revell's Chrome. The second one I did was Alclad. Alclad Natural Metal Finishes, and they have different types of metal finishes. I chose the polished aluminum, and I sprayed that on this spaceship, or the Razor Crest, and it came out great. Same thing, just over a nice glossy black base finish. Came out wonderfully. And the third one, this is the Alclad, and the third one I did was AKI. Now the Alclad is a solvent base, and it works with it. I use their thinner. And like I said, the coolest thing about doing these natural metal finishes, at least from my perspective, was how easy it was to spray right out of the bottle. In other words, I didn't have to screw around with ratios of thinner to paint and mixing and testing and all that. I just basically made sure the stuff was mixed up really well, and then poured it right into my airbrush and sprayed it over that black base, and it came out great. And you can kind of adjust the finish itself by how much of it you put on. You don't want to go too heavy, but you can see it as you spray it over the black, it builds up, and you can pick where you want to be with it. So with the AKI and the Alclad, that was a real pleasure. I didn't have to mix paint. I just took it, made sure it was mixed, and sprayed it right out of the airbrush. Went on very well. Now the next thing I'm going to do, and this will be a separate video, I'm going to do dissimilar panels on the Alclad piece, which means I'm going to mask off panels on it and spray them different shades of aluminum, darker aluminum, maybe a lighter aluminum, just to break up the shape of the ship itself. So that's my next step. And I can basically say that I like these all pretty much the same. I didn't find one better than the other. If I leaned in any direction, it would probably be the Alclad, just because there's such a selection of colors. But then again, AKI has that as well. AKI is an enamel base, and it dries a little bit slower. The Alclad is kind of it's a solvent base. It kind of smells like acetone to me, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. So those two have a different base, and the chrome, like I say, is right out of the spray can. So all my conclusions are basically, don't be afraid of natural metal finish. Give it a try. Make sure that your base coat is nice and shiny and glossy and clean, and you shouldn't have any problems. And the other thing I'd like to show, just really quick, I don't know if you'll be able to see this in the video. This P51 is sprayed with Tamiya's basic lacquer spray can, and this is bare metal, finish. It's an amazing difference between the natural metal finish paints and the standard spray paints like silver. When you put them next to each other, the natural metal finishes actually look like they're made of metal, and this to me looks like a plastic model. It just doesn't have that shine. I mean, nothing against the Tamiya spray can, it's great, it works really well. Just if you're going to shoot a natural metal aircraft, a polished aluminum airplane, go with one of the natural metal finishes and you'll be amazed at the difference. So that's it for now on natural metal finishes. I'm going to move ahead and do some things with these, little experiments on dissimilar panels, and I think I'm going to do a little chipping video on using chipping fluid with the B17, and we'll see how that comes out. So come back next time and check us out, and as always, keep on modeling.